So today we arrived at Santa Cruz de La Palma to a very overcast sky, quite heavy continuous cloud running as far as the eye could see towards the horizon. We would find out the reason for this later on as we went on an excursion to explore the heart of La Palma. And that came as a complete surprise. The reason for the clouds is the trade winds, which blow across the Atlantic towards Europe, I suppose, blowing the ships back from the New World, hence the trade winds. But they are relatively low-level winds, so they bring low-level cloud. The thing about La Palma is that it has mountains that are just higher than that cloud base. So when the wind and the accompanying cloud actually hit that mountain range, which runs north-south for pretty much the full length of the island, they have to stop. They can't rise over it. So the two sides of the island have a significantly different climate. And we saw this, and you'll see this in the video, that we set off. It looks very, very dull to begin with, and we go through a tunnel, come out the other side, where we've gone right the way through the mountain range, and the difference on the other side is quite remarkable. So follow along, and I'll show you what I mean.
On its size, because this island goes up into 2,426 meters, about 7,500 feet in a very short area. So what means steep? We have very good roads, very good bus drivers, but we have no roads that we could say are a straight line. We don't have wild pigs, no deers, no foxes or things like that. We don't have big animals in the forest here. We got a lot of birds, a lot of falcons, ravens, rajas, a lot of different type of birds, but not really much big animal life on the mountains. And very often people ask me as well if we have anything poisonous here on the mountains. No. My mother is on vacation, she's not on the island, so you'll be even better now. As we drive out of the tunnel, I want you to look to the right hand side. Normally you have a very nice view on the right. Everybody looking to the right, not the driver, everybody else. And we have sunshine. Look, what a different weather. Huh? Completely different, huh? Beautiful sunshine, almost no clouds, and those majestical Canarian pine trees we have everywhere here. Those trees get very big, like 25 meters sometimes, or 30 meters, and they're very resistant to fire. Sometimes we're lucky not too many times we have fires in the mountains, and when there's a little part of a forest that interesting, those trees, they may be completely black and burnt, but after 6-7 months they start getting green again. And the reason is they have a very thick bark, 7-8 centimeters, not only on the trunk and the branches as well, part of the roots. So it's a very resistant tree to fires. It's like the phoenix bird that comes back from its ashes, you know. So the right hand side, what a beautiful view we're gonna have now in a moment on the right hand side.
Goodness me. A little bit, I think. It's quite hard to realise when you look at this fantastic scenery that what you're actually looking at is the remains of a volcanic caldera. On the way back from that viewpoint, we called into a sort of national park information centre, basically for toilets, but there was a model in there which showed the island in 3D, as a 3D model, and then it becomes much clearer, as you'll see here. But then these little silver lines are roads. Yeah, these.
Yeah. That's probably where we came up.
What? No, we can't, because that Canberra City's got to be on the other side, I would have thought. So, I don't know. Cumberland.
So was that the one that the eruption thing? Yeah, I'll take one here, Mary. Take one. I've already done that.
The next stop was at the site of the last eruption on La Palma, which was 2021, and it lasted 86 days. And the mountain that rose from the ground is something like 400 meters higher than it was before the eruption started. So what we're looking at is an area of ground that's just disappeared. Huge areas have been devastated. It's a very slow moving, very thick, blocky lava. Looks very similar to what I believe is called AA or AA lava on the Hawaiian Islands. But it's very slow moving, so nobody was injured, but as you'll see, it caused complete devastation and blocked off a road completely. And there's never been any attempt to plough through it because there's just too much material there now to deal with. Can you hear me?
Oh, mira. Oh, look. Something like that. What animal it is. You can play around with it, can't you?
plantations. We had a lot of tobacco cigar factories. And even today we still have 8 small family-run cigar factories. In general, people all over the world smoke nowadays less than they used to smoke 20-30 years ago. But it's interesting that with the cigars, it's not the same. It's still the same. Actually, it increases the sales of cigars. So, and cigars is really a craft work because it's handmade, and they roll the cigars. And those people that actually are doing the cigars, the rolling of cigars, they can produce in one day between 200 and 300 cigars. Depends, of course, on the type of cigar, the size. There's different type of cigars. The Corona, the Pyramid, the Churchill, all the different sizes. And the people that are doing this, it's normally families. And looking on the right-hand side, you can see the strelitzias. You see the strelitzia, the paradise bird flowers on those bushes here on the right, behind the fence. Okay, on the next stop, this is going to be a short stop. It's going to be one of those click. You're getting off the bus, you do click, and you come back, okay? A fast stop outside, click, maybe 3 clicks, and then you come back.
Our next stop, which wasn't very far away, was Finca La Principal. This is a 17th century farm, which is no longer simply a farm because the returns aren't good enough. So it's turned itself into an agro-tourist destination where people can stay or visit. It has some gardens laid out which you can walk through as you go in and out of the place. And it was arranged where we could go and have sample some of the wines they produced, have some tapas, there were some toilets we could use, and then we were free for a little while just to walk around the area nearest to their main buildings until we got back on the bus. From there on, we went to a small village on the edge of Santa Cruz again. They're all very close together within a few minutes of each other. And this was to visit somewhere that had got some restaurants and souvenir shop, if anybody was interested, but particularly to see the Real Santuario de Nostra Senora de las Nieves. In other words, dedicated to St. Mary of the Snows, and she is the patron saint of the island. Very pretty little church, as you can see from the videos. And from there we drove back down along some very winding roads into La Palma and back to the ship.
Of course, a lot of people, they always ask me, how can I get to La Palma other than a cruise ship? Well, of course, we have an international airport. You have flights from the UK and lots of other parts of Europe directly to La Palma. And but the thing is, remember, La Palma is a small island, and we have hotels, but not as much as the other islands. So it's always important to book in advance because there's not much options. And we have 2 hotel resorts. One is here on the east side, is Los Cancajos, and the other one is on the west side, is named Portonaos. And but we have small hotels, so it's a destination if you look for quietness, if you look for relax, if you look for moments with nature. If you're looking for party, action and fiesta, this is the wrong place, of course. And we have lots of different landscapes because we have shown you today a bit of it, but of course we have the northeast of the island, which is, we have like a little rainforest with waterfalls, some tropical forest. We have the south of the island, which is like a moon landscape with a lot of volcanoes, and on the northwest is mainly a lot of forest with a lot of almond trees and vineyards. There's a bit of everything in a very small island. We're going to see a copy of the Columbus ship, a replica of course, the Santa Maria. Columbus in his whole life was never on this island. He lived in La Gomera, but not here. But this ship, same size as it's a copy, the same size. Can you imagine crossing the Atlantic with this? No casino, no bar on it. They had some rum, yes. Not much. Columbus started his journey with a crew of 53. He got there with 27. It's just like being on a tour.
We had a coffee on the ship and we nipped back off again. We hadn't got very long, but that was fine. There wasn't an awful lot to Santa Cruz, to be fair. Very nice, very pretty, very friendly. But not very big either. So not at all like Tenerife or Gran Canaria, but worth seeing, but a couple of hours really would top it all out. We found a little shop, we bought ourselves some little bits and pieces for the cabin, went back to the ship and carried on with our day. It was black tie night that night, so we went back up to the cabin, had a shower, got ourselves organised and prepped so we were good and ready, because P&O is about as fussy as Cunard when it comes to looking formal. Noticed that the sea was looking distinctly rougher than it had been earlier in the day, but nothing that we felt on the ship. And here you can see back down towards the town, but you can see how much difference the breakwater is making to the sea state. We had main dining room bay tree dinner again that night. I didn't manage to photograph all the courses because we were on a shared table. That's the pickled watermelon dish that Ruth had, and that's the goat cheese panna cotta and poached pears one I had. Didn't catch the mains, and these are our 2 sweets. We didn't bother going to see Phil Hitchcock in the arena that night. We saw him before. We were okay, but not particularly thrilled, so we didn't bother with him again. So we basically relaxed around the ship until it was time to call it a day, which we did. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video in Tenerife.